Happy Friday, y'all. We are live for Visionary Conversations with Shanna. Our special guest today is the one and only Miss Annette J. Morris. But before we dive into this amazing conversation today, I want you to invite all your entrepreneur besties, family, friends, and everyone to tune in for this episode of Visionary Conversations with Shanna. Here we go. Welcome back to Visionary Conversations with Shanna. Of course, I'm your host, Shanna A. Jefferson. And as a mental health therapist, as well as business coach, I help entrepreneurs create harmony in life and business through personal development, mental wellness, and sustainable business practices. And today, of course, we are live for Visionary Conversations with our amazing guest. This woman, y'all, perhaps does not need any introduction. We were actually just chatting before we went live that today was actually the first day that I directly heard her voice. Okay, so we've been following each other on social media for a long time. I see her, I hear her. She's all over the place, y'all. Okay, so like I said, she probably truly does not need an introduction. I think when I see her lives, maybe my thought process is, where is she at now, or where is she going to next? She is truly a visionary and trailblazing powerhouse woman. Okay, the one and only Annette J. Morris, CEO of Goal Getter University and Goal Getter LLC, that is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just bring Miss Annette J. Morris on. Here we go. Hi.
Hey, everybody.
So happy to have you today, Miss Annette.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
So why don't you introduce yourself to the Visions of Greatness or Visionary Conversations with Shanna audience?
Hey, everybody. As I was introduced, I'm Annette J. Morris. I am the owner and CEO of Goal Getter LLC, and it's the vision of Goal Getter LLC to help women to identify their divine gifts, monetize their gift into a 5 to 7 figure income generating business to support a life that you love as well as your legacy. I'm also a therapist, but transitioned out of full-time therapy into full-time entrepreneurship 11 years ago so that I can do my true passion, which is working with women to help them to monetize their gifts and love the life that they live.
Wow, I love it. And I didn't realize, so it's been 11 years since you actually practiced as a licensed clinician.
Yeah, it's been 11 years. I never received my license. I only I have the master's in it. And so
Okay.
I went from therapy, and I'd only done it for 5 years. I just knew that, going to school and getting my degree in mental health therapy was not the end all be all. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that God was telling me that was part of the process, and went to school, got my master's, stayed in the field for 5 years, and then transitioned out into full-time entrepreneurship and have been doing mindset, life and business coaching ever since.
Wow, I love that. So what would you say perhaps was the greatest challenge in making that transition. For those of you who are tuning in, you may know I'm also a therapist in the mental health profession who also practices as a coach. And there are some differences, between the two. So for you, Annette, what perhaps were some of those challenges in transitioning from therapist to business development coach?
So I wouldn't say it was a challenge transitioning from the therapy to the coaching, because it's a lot. You still doing like a lot of mindset work, right? But the part that was of ease to me was not having to harp on a mental illness. So technically, as a therapist, we're identifying people with their diagnosis, whatever it may be, attention deficit, schizophrenia, whatever it is, and then as we diagnose them with a mental illness, now we have to teach them how to live a normal life. Technically, from my perspective, we can all be found in the DSM, right? So we all have some type of diagnosis. That's just the reality of it. But I don't want to harp on that. I want to harp on helping people to live being mentally well as opposed to the mental illness, right? So it was an easy transition for me because I rather talk about the positives and help people to live in their positive spin in a positive light, right? Because like I said, technically we all have some type of diagnosis, but most of us can live and lead absolutely normal lives and live a life that we want to live. The hardest part of that transition was going from being a full-time employee that gets paid every 2 weeks to not knowing when you're going to get paid as a full-time entrepreneur.
Right.
That was the hard part. So yeah, that was the hardest part of that transition. Yes.
So what did you do to cope with that transition? How do you sustain yourself financially, perhaps mentally and spiritually during that transition?
So I'm gonna tell you what I did, and I totally did discourage all of my clients from doing this now, right? I just heard God speak to me and say like it was time to do full-time entrepreneurship and focus fully on my business. I didn't have an exit strategy. I didn't have a plan. I didn't even know what a business plan was. All of my degrees, I've never had any business classes, right? All of my degrees, my undergrad is in psychology, master's is in mental health counseling. So I knew nothing about business. I just heard God say it. But when I transitioned in my mind, I'm like, I need to survive. I need to make sure I can take care of my kids. My kids are in private school. I want to maintain that. And so I was hustling, like literally. I had like 3 businesses at one time. I had a catering business, everything that I knew how to do, everything I was talented in doing. I started a business doing it and was just, making money everywhere, whatever, just hustling. Well, I don't recommend that because that was compromising my mental well-being and my physical health, right? So I totally discouraged that at this point. But it was what I did. I did everything that I knew how to do that I felt like could make money, right? As opposed to focusing on that one area and thriving in that, right? So, technically like the acronym for focus now is follow one course until success. I wish I had known that back then and would have put all of my energy in, doing a life coaching thing or whatever, and building that as a fully blown business so that I can be further than I am now with this particular business, right? Because again, I was dividing my time everywhere and totally missing the mark of how I can grow this particular business. Like I would be where I am now, I would have been there years ago if I had totally focused on this particular business, right? And so I do encourage like following one course until success, making sure you are in alignment with your target audience, making sure you're pricing your services or products, whatever it is, adequately, because the goal is not to be the cheapest on the block. It's just not, right? Yep. Especially when you are providing value, whether it's a service or a product. If you're providing value to that particular audience, charge your price, right? I wish I had known all of that 11 years ago, but I didn't. And so I was hustling, making sure my children was always able to eat, making sure I was able to maintain our lifestyle, all the things. That's what I did. But I do discourage it now because I help my clients. I feel like God allowed me to make all of the mistakes so my clients don't have to, right? So I'm like, don't do that. Right. That's what I did. I almost, and what was unfortunate, I did it for quite a few years until I almost experienced burnout, right? But thank God I was able to recognize it because I had the educational background and experience to know why are you snapping, why are you so short fuse? And I was like, oh, you're about to burn out. You're doing too much, right? And at that moment, I had to start implementing a consistent self-care routine, let go of some of the things I'm, chasing a bag and all this other foolishness that we tell ourselves, well, I'm gonna get up and hustle every day. Let all of that go, right? It's not necessary because your revenue is supposed to flow to you when you operate in your gift. You ain't supposed to chase a bag. That's too much energy, right? You're not supposed to be chasing a bag. The revenue, that's why it's called currency, because it's supposed to come to you, right? Come to you, flow from you, you spend it, it comes back to you when you're operating in your gift and your anointing, right? And in your passion. And so I had to transition my mindset, but it was almost when I got to the point of burnout to get to that point to understand it.
Wow. So
Mm-hmm.
speaking of burnout, because that is something that many entrepreneurs experience. And
Mm-hmm.
for those of you who are not aware, just this past Monday, just a few days ago, October 31st, I released my seventh book titled The Mental Cost of Entrepreneurship. Y'all, yes, I'm super. And yes, y'all see, Annette has a copy of the book as well.
Yes.
Not because I think she would have supported anyways, but you know
Yes.
what? She is a contributing author, y'all, in
Yes.
volume 2 of The Mental Cost of Entrepreneurship. So if you have not purchased your copy yet, y'all, these gems that Annette is sharing now, she drops more in her chapter in The Mental Cost
Yes.
of Entrepreneurship. So make sure you connect with her today to order your copy of The Mental Cost of Entrepreneurship. Now, one of the things, Annette, that you wrote in the book that you would have done different. I know you just shared some things, but one of the other key things that I read in your chapter, that you wish you've known from the very beginning, that you currently share with your clients and other new
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs, and that's the importance of starting with a coach and a team. So tell me how that has
Absolutely.
been a game changer for you now in the
Mm-hmm.
season where you are in life and business, as well as for those that you serve.
So as far as a team, you can't make it on your own, right? We are not an island. We're not designed to be an island, especially when you are looking to scale a business, right? Because physically, mentally, emotionally, you can't do all things that the business needs to have done in order to elevate and scale the business, right? Just think of Sam Walton, right, who created Walmart. Would Walmart be what it is today if he had stayed as a solopreneur trying to do everything himself? He can't be the cashier, the bagger, the owner, the manager, running the bakery. He can't do it all, right? And neither can you. If you're looking to grow your business beyond you and not just be an entrepreneur, but to be a small business owner, like you need a team, right? Even like with a football team, the coach, he does not run the plays, right? He do whatever it is. I'm not a big football fan. I'm a Saints fan, but I'm not a big football fan. But you never see the coach on the field running the ball, right? He not tossing the ball, he not running it, he mapping out the plays, and then the team actually runs it, right? That's the same as like you are the coach of your business, right? You're the CEO of the business, so you just like the coach of the football team, right? You map out the division and let the players that are supposed to, like, you have your quarterback, the person that's going to do whatever the quarterback does, right? That's your main person in your business or whatever. Then you might have VAs to do administrative stuff. Then you may have XYZ or whatever, but you cannot do everything on your own and expect your business to grow to a level 6 figures, 7 figures, all of those things. It can't be done on your own, right? And I wish I had known that back then, because I was saying stuff and the same stuff that people say now. Well, I can't afford to hire team members. You
Mm-mm,
can't afford not to. So let me show you
right.
how you pay your team members, right? And I think I put this example in the book. Let's just
Mhm.
say if you were a baker and you sell your cakes for $100 a cake, right? But physically, you're only able to make 5 cakes a day, right? I'm physically only able to make 5 cakes a day, but I'm starting to get orders where I can take on 10 cakes a day, but physically I can't do it, right? So let's just say if you hire somebody else and you train that individual and you make 5 cakes and they make 5 cakes, you're making $1,000 a day, right? Keep that in mind, $1,000 a day. But you're not paying that person $100 per cake. You're paying them an hourly wage because that's one of your employees, right? Whether it's a contract worker, W-2, whatever you decide to do with them, whatever it is, right? So technically, let's say they work $10, you pay them $10 an hour, right? They may work 20 hours a week. $10 an hour times 20 hours a week is $200, right? So
Mhm.
you've made $500 off that person per day times 5, right? That's $2,500 you've made off that person for the week, because y'all work 5 days making cakes and take 2 days off, right? So you've made $2,500 off that individual, but you only paid them $200. That's your business making way more money than it could have, and they're covering their own salary, right? So we have to stop thinking in terms of, oh, I can't afford to pay nobody. If you are at a point where your business is taking on so much business more than you can handle as a one person, then that means you need to add a team person, pay them an hourly wage, but just make sure you're generating more money and they're covering their own salary because they're doing more work. They're allowing you to bring more work and more business into the business, right? So you can't afford not to. If you want to grow beyond you, you have to.
Absolutely. Oh, y'all, the
Hmm.
gems that Annette is dropping today. I hope y'all are taking notes. If you're
I
watching
hope
this
so.
live on Facebook or YouTube, I actually just pull out my phone. So definitely feel free to ask Annette a question, because otherwise, if you contact her, it will cost you. Okay. So here's your opportunity to ask whatever questions that you have. For once again, the visionary Annette J. Morris of Goal Getter University. We're going to pause briefly to play this commercial from one of our visionary sponsors, Swag Her Magazine, and we're going to come back and chat with Annette a little bit more about the book, The Mental Cost of Entrepreneurship. In her chapter, y'all, I don't believe we shared this. Her chapter is titled Entrepreneurship Life, No Longer Compromising Our Mental for Money. Okay, so
Hmm.
invite your entrepreneur, business besties, your mom and them, your cousin them, invite them all, y'all, to join Visionary Conversations with Shanna with special guest Annette J. Morris. Take a look at this brief commercial and we shall return.
Swag Her Magazine is an empowerment and lifestyle publication for Black women who like to be real with themselves and in business. The magazine also offers public relations services and visibility coaching for Black women led businesses, coaches, authors, and girl bosses so that they receive more exposure and grow their brands. To learn more about Swag Her Magazine, please visit www.swagher.net. That's www.swagher.net. Check our swag. We're more than a mag.
Thank you to Swag Her for your continued support of the Visionary with Shayna platform, as well as Visions of Greatness Enterprises. So we're back with Miss Annette J. Morris. And Annette, so I was taking another look at your chapter, and I think before we went to break, you also mentioned the importance of having a self-care routine. And
Yeah.
this is something that you not only encourage your clients to do, you're preaching it, but you're living that life as
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah.
Annette actually outlines her self care, her morning routine in the book, The Mental Cost of Entrepreneurship. So tell us a little about that self care routine and how that has helped you in life and business.
So I really feel like we pour out a lot every day as coaches, as therapists, as moms, as entrepreneurs. Like we pour out every day, right? And so I feel like it's mandatory to start out your day with refilling before you pour out, right? Because the old people used to say you can't pour from an empty glass, and that's the reality, right? And so I got to a point when I started, when I almost hit burnout. I was like, I need to do something to refill myself, to recalibrate my mentals, take care of myself physically every day. Let me just figure this out, right? And so I started with like meditation, and because I have, if y'all are anything like me, an overactive brain, like you're always on, you're always thinking. Um, Meditation was a little bit hard at first, right? So just sitting still and trying to still my mind and all of these other things, I'm like, this ain't working, but something about my body likes it, so I stuck with it, right? And I'm not gonna sit here and lie and tell you I've mastered meditation and my brain is always silent and still every time that I do it, but I absolutely love it, right? So I start my day every morning at 4 a.m. I wake up at 4 a.m. and go to 5:30 a.m. every morning, and that's my self-care time. So that self-care time consists of, it starts out with me actually reading the scripture, if you all are Christians, or if whatever it is. I start out with reading my Bible every day, and then I pray, and then from prayer I move into meditation, then do my affirmations, um then do some reading and a little exercise in the morning if I have time between the 4 and 5:30. After that, I wake my son up so he can get ready for the day. And once he leaves about 6:10, then I head to the gym and do my workout for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then I come home and start getting ready for the day. But from 4 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. is the time that I do affirmations, meditation, prayer, reading the scripture, all those things or whatever. And that's my quiet time. So that's the time before anybody in the house, wake up, anything. Nobody's looking for anything. Nobody asks me looking for anything. None of that, right? And I've been doing that for the last maybe 5 or 6 years probably.
Wow.
But quite some time. But yeah, so that's the time that I have that's really quiet, and it's nobody but me and God during those times. And so that first hour and a half a day belongs to me and God. I don't answer any text messages, nothing at that time of morning or whatever. Don't respond to anything, don't respond to emails, none of that. It's just me and God time, and I take that seriously. So that's my consistent routine every day.
I love it. And it's of utmost
Mhm.
importance. That's one of the things that I always encourage, others to do as well, whether you're entrepreneur, business owner, or, you're a busy mom. I know you work a lot with moms,
Mhm.
busy father, whoever you are, it's important
Mhm.
to take care of yourself first. If you
Yes,
are pouring from an empty cup, then you're going to be depleted. You can't give
you are.
yourself to your kids, to your spouse,
Mhm.
to that business if you are not well. Whatever they
Correct.
get, that should be the overflow. Ensure
Yes.
that your cup is as full as possible at all times. Doesn't mean it's
Mhm.
going to look the same every day. No,
It
right? The
doesn't.
balance is
No.
different, but whatever you do, find a way, as Annette has been sharing, to create that harmony in your life as well as in your business. Um,
Absolutely.
Also, speaking of self-care, you wrote this in the book, and we were joking about this before we went live, Annette. One of the other things that you do on a regular basis is travel, travel, travel. Not y'all, not
Yes.
just traveling. I don't know. She's in Louisiana primarily, right? That's where your
Yes.
business
That's
is.
my
That's
residence is.
your residence officially, okay, is in Louisiana. So she's just not traveling to, I don't know, the city next door, or to, I don't know, say the ATL. Man, y'all, this woman is all over the world, okay? Literally. So tell us a little about that, Annette.
So for me, travel is therapy, right? So I don't, and so I talk about like the consistent self care routine because I believe you should be doing something for yourself every day, right? And it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be as an extensive as an hour and a half. Like when I first started, I started meditation at like 5 minutes or whatever, right? So now I'm up to 20 minutes. But do something for yourself to take care of yourself every day, right? But outside of that, there are other things that I do. So like manicures and pedicures, taking time to get massages or whatever, right? But traveling every month does my soul good, right? It's not
Mhm.
just, I just like, it does my soul good, right?
Right.
And so when I'm able to travel different places, I'm experiencing new people, new
Mhm.
cultures, trying new food, just pulling myself out of my comfort zone, right? Because we get into a comfort zone and we get in a rut and we just keep going and doing the same thing over
Right.
and over. But every month when I'm in a new place, it pulls me out of my comfort zone, right? So just reminding me like you can't get stuck in a comfort zone no more. You have too much to do or whatever, right? So we got to be out here as opposed to over here stuck in a comfort zone. And so for 2022, like I'm traveling to different states or whatever, but 2022 is intentional for me to travel to different countries to start really experiencing differences, right? So this year I've been, oh my God, it's so funny because when most people talk to me, like, wait, before I start talking, are you in the country? I'm like, yes, I'm in the country.
I love it.
Yes, I'm in the country. I've been everywhere from Mykonos, Greece to I just came back from 2 weeks ago from Playa del Carmen. I've gone to Tulum this year.
Mm.
Going to Dubai in a couple of weeks. Where else have I gone? Just everywhere. Aruba, a whole lot of different countries. So every month I'm traveling. But for at least 7 months, I've gone to different countries.
I absolutely, absolutely love it. Now, we did
Yes.
get a question, Annette, and so you
Uh-huh.
mentioned burnout a few times that you experienced in your journey of transitioning, even prior to transitioning to a full time
Hmm.
entrepreneur, but certainly in your early years as an entrepreneur and business owner. So, what were some of those signs of burnout that you experienced, or perhaps that you see in the clients that you work with?
Easily frustrated, snapping
Mhm.
at even like in myself. Um, what happened was there was something I don't even remember what the incident was, but I snapped and it didn't warrant a snap, right? And so I was
Mm.
like, why did I get so angry at that? Like, why was I snapping? That's what made me start assessing myself, right? Because I was like,
Mhm.
that wasn't even that serious. Sometimes you
Yep.
have to assess yourself. And I
Yep.
was like, that wasn't even that serious for me to snap like that and get that angry over. And then so as I was pondering, I was like, oh, you about to burn out, right? Because you start
Mhm.
feeling like exhausted and
Yep.
drained, like just unlike yourself.
Low
And so when you
energy.
start feeling, yeah, low energy and you start feeling drained and exhausted and you snapping at stuff that doesn't really warrant a snap, then you
Mhm.
probably need to self-assess and pull yourself out of whatever it is that you're doing to give your body some, because your body will give you signs before you burn out and hit a ceiling. Your body gonna give you all the
Yep.
signs and all the warnings and all of the red flags. And a lot of times we be like, oh, I just got to go and do this. I got to keep doing this. And we try to push ourselves when the body's saying, I don't want to push anymore. I want to rest. And when your body is telling you, listen, we need to rest, we need to stop, your brain, your body, all of that is sometimes your brain body telling you we need to just sit, then you need to just sit, right? So when my body tells me that now, and my brain be like, I don't want to work no more, and I say, okay, and we just don't work. That's
Absolutely.
not awesome. But if there's a day that I just feel like I don't want to work, like yesterday afternoon, I went home and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, but I've been running all week. I had a conference earlier this week, did 2 days of that, and just been constantly going. And so when I got home yesterday, my brain and body was like, we don't want work no more. I said, you know what? Okay, we're gonna sit on the sofa for a couple of hours, and that's what I did.
And that is so important. We're always, so much to do, so much happening around us, maybe even within us, but there's so much value in, as you're sharing, Annette, in being still. And honestly, so much can happen when you be still, right? So much can manifest even in those moments. You can gain so much clarity, in your life, in your business. Maybe get that motivation back that you've lost. And, also, as Annette said, hopefully you'll also be able to get re-energized. Sometimes we have to unplug, right? To recharge ourselves, your mind, your body, and your soul. It is totally okay to unplug, whatever that means for you. So for all entrepreneurs that are tuning in today, business owners, I certainly hope that you take heed to what Annette has shared with you today. So as she said, she doesn't want you to go through what she has experienced on her journey to entrepreneurship. She wants you to learn from her lessons, the trials, the tribulations that she has endured now in her 11 years as a full-time business owner, entrepreneur, and so much more. We just have a few more minutes, Annette. So for those of you who are just tuning in, it is okay. Make sure you go back and you catch the replay. We're with Annette J. Moore, CEO of Go Getter University, as well as contributing author in my recent book, just released, y'all, fresh off the press, The Mental Cost of Entrepreneurship, Volume 2. Y'all may recall that in 2019, I actually released Volume 1. And that year, a few months later, we were actually nominated as ATL Hottest Tatiana Care Award for raising awareness of the importance of mental health for entrepreneurs and business owners. So I'm definitely grateful to, there's one thing that didn't happen. And Annette, I'm not sure if you are aware of this, and some of you that are listening may not be aware either. So in Volume 1, I did not share my story, y'all. Did not share my story. Yep. 10 amazing trailblazing authors, but I did not share my story. So for the first time, perhaps other than what you see me maybe post on social media, and literally a handful of people may know some of the difficulties, the challenges that I've experienced now, my nearly 10 years as a full-time business owner and entrepreneur, I also shared in Volume 2. So this is a must read to hear or to read more about my story, as well as more about the story that Annette shares of her journey and the other amazing contributing authors in Volume 2. So to copy your copy from Annette, make sure you just contact her to grab your copy from her, whether you're in Louisiana, you might be across the world, because she's going to be there, okay, wherever you are. So make sure you connect with her to grab an autographed copy from her today. But before we close out, Annette, what's next for you? I know you're traveling for sure, but I think I saw you're having an event coming up soon in Louisiana. Tell us about that.
Yes. So me and my business partner had a mastermind called Powerhouse Inner Circle. And the reason for us coming together to do this mastermind, she's one of my best friends, but also we have a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of resources. And we realize this, right? So we feel like we wanted to collaborate and come together to give this these resources, this information, this knowledge to women, right? She has a wealth of knowledge as it regards business credit, personal credit, helping people to leverage those streams of revenue and other people's money to scale up in their business, and establishing relationships, right, outside of the people that you're connected to and already know. Relationships are so important if you want to grow and elevate in business. And you can't just be in a mind frame of no new friends. We got to dismantle that whole philosophy and that mental process, as well as getting outside of your family connections, right? You have to make connections with other people, collaborate in order to grow in your business, right? So she's very good at teaching people how to do that. I'm very good in helping people to further monetize their actual passion and generate multiple streams of revenue from those passions, right? So and again, I have a ton of resources as well, right? So we felt like if we collaborated, we're able to do a total service to female entrepreneurs, because we service women. Fellas, we sorry, we love y'all, but we passionate about women because we are women, right? Especially like moms, because we want moms to be able to have more freedom and more flexibility in their lives. And just sometimes the not sometimes, but limited resources hinders your ability to live a life that you want to live, right? Mm-hmm. And so we want to get these resources and this knowledge to as many women as possible. But on November 19th, we are acknowledging the powerhouse women that are in our community, right? So we have 10 nominees. We're doing a brunch here at my business center. We're doing a mixer and a soiree that Friday night, which is a networking event at her. My business partner also has a restaurant and lounge. So we're doing a mixer at her restaurant and lounge on the 18th, a brunch here on the 19th, and we're going to acknowledge the Powerhouse Woman of the Year at that particular brunch. So we have 10 phenomenal nominees. All of them are entrepreneurs, moms, business owners, community leaders, people that are invested in other people, moving them forward. And that's what our definition of a powerhouse woman is. And so we have 10 nominees, and we're going to acknowledge the one winner, the Powerhouse Woman of the Year, on the 19th here at the brunch.
I love it. I love it. Mm-hmm. How can the Visionary Conversations with Shanna audience connect with you, Annette?
Definitely follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm Annette J Morris, MA, on both platforms. My business pages are Goal Getter LLC. That's Goal, GOAL, Getter LLC on Facebook, and Goal_Getter_University on Instagram. And then my website is www.goalgetterforever.com. So any of those ways you can follow me, reach me. If you have any questions, I do have a free discovery call, but it's 20 minutes or whatever. If you have any questions that you can't get to here, inbox me, DM me, whatever it is. I'll send you the link to schedule a discovery call. You should be able to do that from my website as well. But if you need to DM me, feel free to. Any questions I can answer in that free discovery call, I will. Outside of that, definitely hire me as a coach, because that is important that you have a coach to elevate to the next level in order to, navigate some of the pitfalls that and get to your level of success a lot quicker.
I love it. I love it, Annette. I'm so glad that we're finally able to connect virtually, and it will happen. We're going to have to make it happen in person in 2023. Yes. I don't know. May not be in the United States. I'm going to have to catch you somewhere else. But let's make it happen.
Yes, ma'am.
What final nugget for greatness or advice would like to share with our audience today?
Just make sure you are taking care of you. You have everything on your to-do list, and that is great. But make sure when you are to-doing that you are the priority on your to-do list. It doesn't matter what your role is in life. The kids will be fine. The spouses will be fine. Your friends, your clients will be fine when you are fine. So prioritize you. Figure out a consistent self-care routine for you and do it. Whatever makes you happy, figure that out and do it. But make sure you are your priority.
I love it. Make sure you are your priority. And as she shares in the book, if you don't take care of yourself, both mentally and physically, the business will cease to exist. Thank you so much, Annette. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in today.
Get this book.
Get the book. That's right. Get the book. Catch up with Annette. Grab your autographed copy from her. Of course, you can also grab a copy from myself or any of the other amazing contributing authors that we will be featuring over the next few months, actually. And before we go away, I want y'all to mark your calendars. We are actually having our very first book signing. It is going to be in Metro Atlanta on December 10th. Okay, so we're about, 6 weeks away now? December 10th, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Matter of fact, is exactly where it's going to be. We will be sharing more via social media and email soon, so make sure you don't miss it. And then fast forward to February 25th, 2023. Was just discussing this with Annette as well. My 10th business anniversary celebration, by the grace of God, y'all. still standing. Annette, you know how it is, still standing
Yes.
after 10 years. And I
Yes.
definitely look forward to celebrating with everyone. And hey, Annette will be there as well.
I will be there. Yes.
Yes. Details are forthcoming. Thank y'all. We'll see you again actually on November 18th. We have another contributing author, Miss Alicia Wright Williams, who's also, again, a contributing author, volume 2 of The Mental Cost of Entrepreneurship. Love and greatness, y'all. Bye.
Y'all have a great one. Bye.